Hello everyone, my name is Patrick. I'm a cloud engineer here at HAYNE.cloud. Today we're going to go over some updates in the world of Microsoft for July 2024. We're going to be talking a little bit about Teams, SharePoint, Microsoft Designer, and then we'll get into a little bit of Intune. But firstly, I actually want to talk about something that happened in July, which was to do with CrowdStrike. So you might not have been aware of CrowdStrike before, but I'm sure you're more aware of them now. They're actually a cybersecurity company. One of the really big cybersecurity companies in the industry. They offer various cybersecurity solutions, antivirus, EDR, things like that. And on July 19th, they actually released an update to a component of their software called the Falcon sensor. That resulted in about 8.5 million Windows devices crashing. So it's a really big thing that happened. What would happen, this crash would cause the devices to go to the dreaded blue screen of death. You'd see the error message, you couldn't do anything, and that was it. So as I said, this happened on roughly 8.5 million devices around the world. This affected the NHS, it affected banks, it affected airlines. So yeah, just a really big incident that occurred. If you weren't aware, so essentially what would happen is any device that had this update would crash. It would go to the blue screen. There was a way to get around it. What you'd have to do is actually get into the file system and rename a system file, and that would then allow you to boot up. Of course, to do that, you'd have to either go into safe mode, or if you were working with virtual machines, you'd have to mount the disk of that virtual machine onto a different virtual machine and work around it that way. So yeah, it was a lot of kind of manual labor for IT admins for those couple of weeks that happened. I think initially there was some thought that maybe it was a Microsoft issue. There definitely was some conversations about it being a cyber incident as well, which definitely wasn't the case. It was actually a problem with the third-party CrowdStrike software. So yeah, just a really big news story. Interesting enough, Microsoft did actually release a tool to help. I have posted a link to that tool, so I imagine most people are over this issue now for the majority. But if you're not, you can always have a look at that. And if you want to know more about this, CrowdStrike have published a post-incident review that goes into more fine detail on the issue, as well as what they're hoping to do to stop this from happening in the future. That's it really. Should probably hear more about that. I expect we'll have a full kind of root cause analysis in the near future. But yeah, you can always check on their website for more information. So now we're going to move on to more positive things. So we're going to talk about some Microsoft Teams. Firstly, we have the future of Microsoft Teams in VDI, so that's virtual desktop infrastructure. If you're not aware, so that's things like Azure Virtual Desktop, Windows 365, Citrix Desktop as a Service. There will be support for other virtualization solutions as well in the future. So yeah, last year Teams was updated. There was a big Teams update. There was a new application, Teams app, and you probably noticed you've got the little new icon next to it. So that's the new application. A lot of new kind of graphical changes, but also a lot of back-end things that will improve performance and stuff like that. So they are now bringing those changes to the Teams application for VDI. So it's really cool. Because I guess what I'd say is if you've ever worked with Teams or any kind of audio video solution in VDI, it's a bit difficult to optimize. Obviously you're putting a layer in between your hardware and the software. It just makes things a bit more difficult. There are things you can do, but yes, and it's really good that they're kind of putting more behind the new app to get that up to date and hopefully performing as best as it can. So as part of this update, there are 4 major pillars. The first thing is what we're calling additional features, but really what that is a change to the kind of the back-end media engine that the Teams app uses. The big thing is that the native Teams app uses this media engine called SlimCore, and now so will the native app. So that means any changes that happen to the native application can be brought quickly to the one in VDI. And the reason why that's good is obviously just we're closing the distance between all these features and performance improvements, which is what we want to see. But the big thing for me is performance improvements. That's really what we want to see. It's great that there will be new features, but I think, yeah, when we're talking about Teams, audio and video in VDI, we just want it to be perform as best as it can. So what they're doing is they're trying to reduce times to join meetings, call drops, increase the success rate when creating or joining a new meeting, screen sharing. They're improving the audio and video codec, so it's all really good stuff, and hopefully will just improve the user experience. Auto updates. The next pillar is auto updates and decoupling. So what this means is it's going to be freshly updated, so you don't have to have the newest virtualized infrastructure all the time. We don't have to have the latest version. Teams will be able to update without that, and also it won't need any prompts from myself like an admin or for general users. And then the last thing of the pillars is streamlined support. So again, a really good thing for people like me who support and work with teams. We can reach directly out to Microsoft and get assistance. We don't have to go through the third-party VDI solution providers, and also they're improving their self-help documentation. Again, really good thing for me. I love to have documentation there when I'm working on things. Without it, it just becomes difficult. So yeah, having that there is going to be really helpful. And there are a few other features that you can take a look at in the article as well. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about some more things in Teams. So these are all updates to Teams in general. So we're now kind of past the VDI version. So these are Teams. These are changes that you'll see in Teams now if you go into the application. First thing is /command. So I really like this actually. If you used Slack or Discord or any of the other kind of chat apps, you might have used this before. But basically, if you go into the application and you're in your chat bar, you type /, you'll get a bunch of options. So I use it to set my kind of team status, put / in, I press offline, I'm going home. That's basically it. You get other options as well. So you can do /window, and that will bring your chat up in a new window. You can do /BRB to set your status to be right back. So just quick shortcuts that you can use in the Teams chat bar. It's a nice feature that I enjoy. The next thing that has changed is the Meet Now option in Teams. So you might have already noticed, but if you go to a Teams group, in the top right hand corner you've got an option to Meet Now. So this will allow you to meet with all of the participants of this group. So it's a nice easy way to jump on a call rather than going into your calendar, creating a meeting, inviting all the people that you need to. If you're working with people on a daily basis and you've got a Teams chat going, you can just jump in that and have a call. The next feature we have is co-edit code blocks. This is going to be a cool feature for anyone who uses code on a daily basis, whether you're a programmer or someone like me who uses scripts and things like that. So you can actually put that code block directly into a Teams chat, and you can make it collaborative, meaning that will go into the Teams channel, and then your colleagues can jump on that and edit it as they go. You'll see here how it looks. So yeah, it would be very similar if you collaborate on documents. You'll see your colleagues here. You'll see them when they highlight any text or make changes. And yeah, I think that's just a cool feature. Hopefully it just allows a bit of collaboration on code quickly. And I think this is the final thing we have about Teams today. And while it seems like a really small thing, I actually think it's really needed, and it should have happened a while ago, but here you go. If you now present in Teams, you can move the presenter toolbar. I had problems in the past where I will present something and I'll have multiple tabs open in a browser, and that toolbar is in a certain place and I can't get to those tabs. I have to minimize the window, and that was really annoying. Thankfully that is now no longer an issue. I can drag the toolbar wherever I want and I can pin it. So yeah, I'm thankful for that update. I hope you will be too. And then finally, there's an optimize button on the toolbar as well now. What that does is optimizes your video playback. So if you're having any issues when you're sharing or presenting, what you can do is just click that optimize button rather than kind of digging through settings, and that will hopefully improve things for you. So yeah, now we have a quick update for SharePoint. So Microsoft are now rolling out a feature that allows multiple people to edit SharePoint pages. So that's called co-authoring for SharePoint pages. Exactly what it says really. So this is going to allow collaboration on SharePoint pages. Multiple people can work on the page and collaborate at the same time. Similar if you've worked on any type of document or PowerPoint with other people, you'll see the users in the toolbar. You'll know who's making editing You'll know who's making edits, and yeah, it's just a really good feature to collaborate, especially if you're working with SharePoint pages a lot. And to help with that feature, Microsoft are also improving the version history. So I think that's important, especially if multiple people are frequently editing these pages, to have good versioning. So yeah, what it will show you is it will show you a good list of who's made edits, and you'll be able to roll back to any of those versions that have been changed. So the Microsoft Designer application is now generally available for iOS and Android. That's using your personal Microsoft account. For those not aware, so Microsoft Designer is an AI cloud-based tool that allows you to generate and edit images. So you might have used it in the past if you've used Copilot in things like Word and PowerPoint. What you can do is you basically go to Copilot. Oh, can you generate me this stock image of whatever to create a banner? It will go off and create that image for you, and you can put that directly into your presentation or Word document. So now they're actually releasing a fully fledged application for Android and iOS, so you can go and download that now. You will need just a personal Microsoft account, and yeah, go and have a play around with that. As you know, anyone who's used these AI image creating tools know they can be quite useful, especially if you're working with a lot of documents, or if you're making social media posts. This is going to be useful for you to improve the quality of them. So the last thing I'm going to be talking about today are updates related to Microsoft Intune. So that's going to be especially interesting to people like me, or IT admins that work with Intune on a daily basis. First thing is the ability to remove apps and configuration from devices. I think this is really cool and useful. So this is going to be supported for iOS and iPads, as well as Android enterprise devices. So yeah, what you can do, you can go off and remove an app or a configuration profile from a single device. Rather than going through multiple groups or changing these policies, you can just highlight the device you want to work on, and you can remove those things. That will be restored within 8 to 24 hours automatically if you don't do that manually. That's very useful because we don't want these policies removed forever. We just want to do it while we're troubleshooting. So let me go through. I have done a quick demo here. So it is really simple to do and really useful. But essentially you'll go into your devices in Intune, whether that's iOS, iPad or Android. You'll highlight this the particular device, and then you'll go into remove apps and configuration. So once you know what you want to remove, whether that's an app or the configuration item, you highlight that, you click next, and then you remove it. So once it's removed, you can see in kind of the actions pane what's going on with it. It might take a little bit for it to be fully removed before you can do testing. And once you've done that, you can go in and restore it. As I said, a really cool feature. I think that's going to be useful for IT admins. The way I think about it is that you might have a scenario where a single person can't do something that they expect to be able to do. Maybe it's because you've introduced new policies, or you might have moved to a new tenant. It could be lots of different reasons. But with this feature, you can go in for a single person, and you can really narrow down what would be causing this problem for them. And then if you need to adjust a policy, or in some cases exclude them, you can do that. So the last thing I'm going to talk about today is Copilot in Intune. Now has a device query feature using custom query language. So kind of a lot of words there, but I'll quickly discuss what KQL is. So it's a query language used to process data and output results. So I've used this a little bit working with servers and a bit in Intune as well. Essentially what you do is you write a simple query, and it goes off, it gets some data that you want, and it filters it out, and you can work with that data in different ways using this language. For example, I would get some security logs, and then I'd filter out some data that I didn't want, and I'd sort it in a certain order, stuff like that. But if you don't have a deep knowledge of the language and you don't want to go off and learn it necessarily, you can now use Copilot to kind of get you where you need to be. So obviously, Copilot uses like a certain language. All you have to do is ask it a certain question in a certain way. It will then go off and generate this query for you. So I can think of various scenarios. What you could do is, Copilot, I need to know how much CPU this device has been using over the last 48-hour period. And then you could even, get certain processors and filter it that way. So stuff like that. So I think really useful if you don't want to go off and learn this query language, you just want to get certain results. Yeah, you can use Copilot for Intune. Obviously, you will need that to be activated and pay for that license in your tenant. But once you have that feature, that's something else you can use Copilot for. Yeah, so that is everything really for this month, everyone. Thank you for watching, and if you do want to discuss any of this or get in touch, you can do that by calling us or emailing us at info@HAYNE.cloud, and also please give us a follow on LinkedIn and get in touch.